Hi, I'm Rachel Lancaster, and this is the Magnificent Midlife Podcast. This is where we celebrate women in midlife and beyond. We challenge the status quo and bash those negative stereotypes about being an older woman. We're not over the hill at 40, 50, 60. We're just getting started, and the world needs us now more than ever. I'll be talking all things midlife and sharing some fabulous stories of amazing women doing very cool stuff. Now's our time. I'm impossibly excited today to introduce you to Rachel Peru, who is doing amazing things on the world stage because she has become a silver-haired model in her 40s. And she's got some fabulous advice for us and things to tell us about accepting oneself and actually then finding the power that comes with that. So first off, Rachel, welcome. I'd like to ask you, how did you start modelling in your 40s?
Thank you for having me. I didn't set out to do this as a career. I actually got divorced when I was 39. So that brings huge changes anyway. And I actually went back to university and did a degree in education studies. So I was working as a nursery teacher. And then unfortunately my daughter wasn't very well, so I had to take some time out. So I was at home and I really lost a lot of self-confidence and really kind of felt quite isolated being at home. And there was a local Macmillan fashion show that was every year in our town, and a friend asked me to do it. So I did do it, and I was really nervous about doing it, but actually it was the thing that I needed because it just gave me that boost and that real sense of confidence, really. And I've actually done it every year since, and it's my 10th year this year. So each year I did it, my confidence grew. And then the photographer kept saying, you're really photogenic, you should try it. And my kids, I've got 3 children and they're all older. And I actually thought, well, I've got nothing to lose, so let's just see what happens. So I sent photographs off to some agencies and actually got picked up straight away and signed. And I'm now with Bridge Curve Model Agency in London. I'm loving it. But I would never have imagined doing this in my 20s and 30s, never.
That's the amazing thing, isn't it? All sorts of things can possibly open up for us in midlife and beyond, can't they? That we would never have imagined were possible before.
No, not at all. No, it's a real revelation. But I'm loving it. I get to meet different people. I can travel. I found my confidence and I found my voice as well. So it's an interesting time. Yeah.
And you've talked about how the change that came when you finally decided to embrace your grey.
Yes, that has definitely been a huge part of me gaining my confidence. I was grey from being a teenager, so I used to dye my hair, from 15, 16 years old. In fact, my school nickname was Biddy because I had a tight perm in the 80s and really grey roots. So 4 years ago, I just woke up one morning and thought, actually, I don't want to colour this anymore. I want to go grey. So I put actually a Facebook post saying, thinking about doing this, what does everyone think? And it was all tongue-in-cheek, but there was not one positive comment back saying, yeah, great idea, embrace it, do it. Everybody was like, no, it's too aging, you're too young, don't do it. But I did it anyway, and since then I just felt like me for the first time. I can't explain it. I just felt it was really quite liberating just to feel comfortable in my own skin and to not think about what colour my hair was this week or change my hairstyle, or it's just me. Yeah. So that's been a huge part of me finding myself, I think.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, whenever I post anything about grey hair and letting your hair be natural, though, similarly, I get really antagonistic comments of like, oh, it's all right for some, I'm not doing it, oh, it's far too aging. And I think there's also certainly a lot of feeling of women who work in an office in that sort of environment where they feel quite threatened by younger women. They keep dyeing their hair. And I should say, I always feel a fraud when I'm talking about these things because I don't dye my hair, but it's still like this in my 50s. And it will probably never go grey. It will go strawberry blonde, I think. But
Mm.
even my mum in her 80s still has some colour in her hair. So that's my sign of like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I know I'm a bit of a fraud, but I don't actually dye it. But yes, there is that pressure, isn't there, still, to not accept that we have gone grey or white, and that somehow that's wrong. And I get so annoyed with that it's viewed by society as wrong to be natural and who we are.
Yeah, and I think it's everyone's personal choice, and I completely get. And I've got friends that will continue to dye their hair, until they're 70 or 80, and they feel confident like that, and that's great. For me, it just was a personal choice, and I feel more comfortable like this. But there's this huge kind of stigma attached to grey-haired women that I've done since I've done my modelling. My first few jobs that were very stereotypical. Oh, she's got grey hair. Let's get her in an advert for something that needs like an aid for chemists because they're older, for older people. It's still seen as an aging, stereotypical, not seen in a positive way at all. But times are changing. There's a lot more women out there that are saying, actually, do you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to be me and enjoy it.
And your hair looks stunning. I mean, it really does.
Thank you.
Absolutely stunning. When I see hair like yours, I think, oh, I'd quite like to have lighter hair, but that's not going to be an option for a while anyway. But no, good for you. I love that you've done that. So as an older model, you're a bit older, not a lot older, but a bit older. What are you hoping to accomplish?
I'm an older model and I'm a curve model, so I'm a size 16. I've got a really big bust, so I kind of gone into it with the odds against me, if you like. But actually, that's what drives me. That's the thing that makes me more determined to get out there and do things that break down some barriers. So in terms of modelling, I really want to work for brands that wouldn't necessarily choose a grey-haired curve older model. I'm 50 next year, but brands are definitely seeing the potential because that's where the market is. People have got money to spend in the 50s, so there is a place for us. So I'm interested to see where it's going to go. I don't know, but yeah, it's a journey, definitely.
But you're obviously helping to change perceptions as well as you go on your way.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm not afraid to put myself out there. It is a bit scary sometimes. I do posts. I've worked for swimwear companies. I've worked for lingerie brands, and that's quite unusual to have midlife women in those kind of brands. But how nice would it be to go into a department store and see somebody your age that you can relate to in bar and knickers that you might buy, rather than seeing somebody in their 20s, which is just completely demoralising. So that's what drives me, and I'm not scared to put myself out and do that. So yeah, I am hoping to, try and keep pushing those boundaries.
It's so important. I do think there is a little bit of a groundswell now. I think as you say, things are changing. And there's beginning to be a more acknowledgement of, yes, the amount of money we have to spend relative to the youngsters.
Yeah, definitely.
We've been ignored for so long, haven't we?
Yeah, we really have. And I think there's so much more women collaborating together on things, and women are being more supportive, which then strengthens our voice. So in all sorts of different areas of, not just the media and fashion industry. So I think times are changing. It may be a little bit slower than we'd like, but there definitely is this kind of feeling and sense of, there's a movement going now and we are getting stronger.
Now, I know you have 2 daughters.
Yes.
Do they model?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
How would you feel if they wanted to get into modelling? I should say I have a stepdaughter who's a model.
Right.
I have a bit of a background in this, but how would you feel? Because it's very different for younger women.
It's really difficult, and I've I talk and work with younger models, and I certainly didn't have the confidence in my 20s and 30s to be in this position. I would never have dared to do anything like this, and I think they have a tougher time. Younger models, I think it's a lot more competitive. I think social media and the need to keep up with everybody else, it's a lot of pressure. But if they came to me and said, look, I want to try and do this, then I wouldn't stop them. And hopefully my experiences, I could guide them and, help them if I could. But I think it's something they'd have to decide for themselves. I wouldn't sway them. In fact, my son has mentioned that he could probably do well in modelling. He's occasionally mentioned it to me and said, "Oh, you know, I might try it." And I haven't encouraged it, but equally I haven't said, "No, you can't do that."
But that whole sort of perfection of youth is so difficult, isn't it? And
It really is.
It's and I like what you're doing, because you're challenging two concepts of perfection. One is the don't show your natural hair colour, and one is also not being skinny as a rake.
Yeah. I think, I've actually just become ambassador for a campaign by Be Real that are with the work with the Dove Project and the YMCA. So they work with a lot of children in schools. So I'm really pleased to be able to be involved in that, because the more younger people see a whole diverse range of adults modelling and out in the media and doing different things of all shapes and sizes, that the less they'll be pressured, hopefully, to seeing that actually when you get older, you know, everything's okay. There's no wrong way or right way to be somebody. So it's about setting examples at home as well, isn't it? It's about, you know, women at home with mums, with kids, you know, making sure that they have a healthy attitude to themselves that passes on to their daughters.
Yeah, and that can be so difficult, can't it?
Yeah.
Those things that we pass down to
It is.
Younger daughters. And
well, we're all guilty of it. We all do it. But it's having that in the back of your mind to think, okay, I'm not going to say I'm not feeling good about myself today. I'll just keep that in my head and not pass it down the line.
Yeah, no, that's really, really important, isn't it? So that campaign you were talking about, is that the campaign? Because I've seen pictures.
No, that's just that's a group based in Edinburgh. It's two young girls, they're sisters, and they run a campaign called I Am More Than. So they're two young girls in their 20s that really are passionate about making people their generation realise that, you know, they're not just how they look, it's the whole package, and everyone's different. And they asked me to join in one of their latest projects, which I was really pleased about, because then it's, you know, it's me working with women in their 20s, so it just shows that we're all different, and, you know, it's diversity, which is what we need.
And so important as well, I think, because I find there's a climate of fear as we get older. Certainly as we head towards menopause, women are petrified of menopause. So I'm out there banging the drum saying, look, I've been 10 years post-menopause and it's all right. It's, you know, life is great. It's good. It can be good. You need to do certain things, you know, to make it that way. But you have more control. And I think, you know, this whole, I'm trying to expand the notion of beauty. So I believe that beauty is ageless, you know, and women of all ages are beautiful. So the more work that can be done on that, I think is great, not just for us and the women older than us, but the ones coming up through the ranks, because they don't need to fear it, do they?
No. I mean, my mum's generation didn't talk about the menopause. So when I got to becoming perimenopausal, it was a shock. And I didn't really know anything about it. It was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? I don't like this. But, you know, the more people that talk about it now, things have definitely changed. And, you know, I'm open with my daughters about if I'm having a bad day or what's going on with my cloudy head or why I might be ratty one day. But equally they see me getting out there and getting on with life and exercising and being healthy, then I think that's got to help the situation. But yeah, menopause was a shock. I'm not going to lie, I don't like it, but you have to get on with it, don't you? And it's just a different stage, hopefully, that won't last forever.
And honestly, I mean, I feel really good post-menopause. I've tried to write about that and talk about it, because sometimes I think people don't really believe me, but it's all fine. It's all good. And what I love, I did a post recently in our group on Facebook, actually asking people what they most liked about being postmenopausal, and it's that there's more continuity. There's less of these hormonal fluctuations that women all go through because of what happens every month, you know, and I'm more like that now, and I feel I'm more in control, you know. I can put me first, because I don't have estrogen pumping through my veins and telling me I need to nurture everybody else.
No, it's an interesting time. It's and I'm just taking it kind of as it comes. But yeah, I'm at that stage. Definitely. With that in itself, that's been a challenge to manage whilst I've been going on jobs, because
I bet.
if I'm sent away travelling, my anxiety's got higher, which I've never been anxious about travelling before, but that's been a real negative, I think, for me, has been that's kind of come out of nowhere, which I'm managing better now. But at first it was like, okay, what's going on here? Why am I so stressed out about absolutely nothing? So travelling to jobs suddenly caused me huge anxiety. So by the time I'd even got somewhere, I was, my stress levels were up here. So then to calm back down again and be in front of the camera as if nothing was wrong, I found it really quite difficult. But I have got that. For the time being, it's under control.
So how are you controlling it? How are you doing it?
I'm exercising more, which has definitely helped. And I'm out. I'm making sure I get fresh air and I've got a dog, so I do dog walk. But I'm making sure I really get myself out there every day to just take some time out and calm my head down and my mind. I'm trying really hard to eat healthier and just taking things a bit slower. I'm the kind of person that normally crams in way too much or tries to cram in way too much in my day. So I'm probably being a bit choosier about what I really need to do so that I've got less stress. Yeah.
Well, I always think that menopause is literally that. It's a pause. It's a time when life sort of says, okay, you need to think about what you're doing, what you're not doing, what isn't very good for you, what might be better for you, what you need to do, what you need to change. Sounds like you've been doing some of that.
I'm trying. It's constant. I'm trying hard to keep on top of it.
Yeah. So that I'd like to know about the campaign as well, the one that you've got on Instagram, because that's quite big, isn't it? Unheard.
It's getting shared a lot. They've had a really good response from it. So there was 5 of us, and we all had different. We could choose our own word. So I had unheard. So our original images had every word had un in front of it. So unsuccessful, unheard, unseen, and then we crossed them out in red so that it was heard, seen, successful. And I think it's been quite a powerful message, really, just to highlight the fact that words are powerful, and what the words that we use about ourselves and to other people, really they're important, they matter. So I've been really pleased for the girls for doing this project, because it's been great to be involved in.
Do you think you'll do more things like that sort of campaign?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm always up for doing anything like that, anything that can challenge what's out there and what's going on, and make a positive statement. I'm definitely happy to collaborate on. I love doing it. Yeah.
And tell us about the Goldie campaign. Was that your first front cover?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's out this week. So Goldie magazine, I really enjoy reading it. It's aimed at over 40s, but it's full of interesting people that I find really inspiring, getting on with their lives and doing different things. So when Rebecca, the editor, suggested that maybe I thought about doing something, it's taken me a few months to come up with something that I wanted to do, but I ended up writing an article about how I feel it's really important that we are more body positive about our, when we're aging, and that it's, we're not invisible, and that we can still feel good about ourselves. We don't have to conform, because I think beauty is about confidence.
Yes.
So, that was the whole kind of thing behind it. So yeah, we took lots of different photographs for it, covered in gold paint and glitter. Took me days to get off.
I bet.
But yeah, so she chose one of the photos as a front cover. So actually, I'm hoping that the postman might be delivering it this week. So that's exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw the image online. It was stunning. Really lovely.
Thank you. No, I'm really pleased. So I think there's 2 or 3 pages full of different photographs of me.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah, so it's hopefully, and the article I really enjoyed writing. So yeah, it's positive.
Good for you. And you've recently launched a podcast as well, haven't you? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, it's called Out of the Bubble. I live and have lived all my life in a small town in Yorkshire, and it's beautiful, and it was a great place to bring the kids up. but it is very small and it's quite isolating. And to me, it is a bubble. So the idea behind it is to showcase and highlight women in midlife getting out there, embracing life, maybe doing different things, starting new hobbies, starting new jobs, and just sharing their stories, because I found social media really inspiring. So I know I found loads of new friends on social media, and people like yourself I found now, and they follow, and you inspire me. So it's a way of sharing those, so hopefully that then, you know, those stories get shared around, and somebody that's maybe in their late 40s, 50s, that's thinking about trying something and taking that next leap of faith into something, that's having a bit of a wobble, will hear some of these stories and think, oh, well, actually, you know, what have I got to lose? Let's try this. So, but I'm really enjoying it. It means I get to meet some interesting people and travel, you know, to see them, and learn lots of new things. So yeah, so far so good.
Excellent. I've listened to some of it, and it's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I know that your first interviewee was Joe, wasn't it, Joe Moses?
It was, yes, it was.
And
yeah.
it was through that I realised that you were actually friends. You live near each other, because viewers will know, or listeners will know, that I've profiled Joe as well, and she's fabulous.
Yeah, she really is. She is my daily inspiration, particularly when it comes to exercise and getting out, because we live in very close proximity, so the weather is exactly the same where she is to where I am. So I know, you know,
you've got no excuse.
Exactly, yeah, I haven't. So she, you know, her posts do give me regular kind of like, come on, get yourself out there, get your coat on, wrap up, just get on with it.
Yeah, no, she's fabulous. So if you have one piece of advice that you could give to a woman in midlife and beyond who's really struggling with the way their looks are changing, what would it be?
I think it's about finding your confidence, and I think it's a really hard thing to define, but I think it's about somebody finding something that they really enjoy in life, whether it's a new hobby or interest or listening to music, or it's about finding themselves and finding what makes them happy inside, because then that will give them that little bit more confidence that then exudes to the outside, because it really is what's going on in the head and in the body. So I think it's about finding your thing and what you enjoy in life and taking time out for yourself, and I think through that then you gain confidence.
Yeah, because real beauty, I think, it comes from the inside, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think, you know, I've seen so many of my friends in midlife go through different changes, and, you know, one person started writing and now is a really, you know, published author, and and she's beautiful, but she exudes this new sense of energy.
Wow, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's an internal thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. But I think it's very difficult for women who were seen as very beautiful in their youth, and who have then had a lot of attention because of their beauty, which wasn't something that ever happened to me. So my changing face, my changing features, whatever, hasn't had the same impact on me as I think it would have on a woman who had had a lot of attention for her beauty in her youth. And I see a lot of women sort of really struggling with that. Yeah,
and I'm the same as you. When I was younger, on the inside, I was very insecure about the way I looked. I was not happy about my size and just my whole being. So I never, if I did get attention, I wasn't aware of it. And you know, it's to the point where I actually went and got an appointment to have a breast reduction, because I just hated my boobs, and I thought if they were smaller then everything would be all right, which actually wasn't the case. I got divorced instead, but you know. So I've got my confidence now that I never had before.
Thank goodness you didn't get them reduced.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But so it's the other way around for me. So I've got my confidence now, and I didn't have it when I was younger. So I can imagine it is much harder if you were that confident and felt amazing when you were younger, and suddenly feel like you're comparing yourself to what you were like when you were younger, comparing yourself to girls that are younger than you that you might work with. I think that's a challenge, and I think that's quite hard. And I think I don't know what the answer to that one is. I think the media has a huge part to play in it. I think because the more positive, older, diverse women we see on the television and in magazines, that's got to be that's got to help. But it's a tricky one. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some more work to do.
Yeah.
So what do you love about your time of life? You've talked a bit about it already, that you're more confident now. So what else?
Yeah, so that's liberating, because I think my lack of confidence and self-belief held me back when I was younger. I wouldn't do things because I worried about probably failing and worried about making a fool of myself. So I like the fact that now I'm aging, I don't really care. I care if my family and my close friends will be bothered by something, but I don't care about what the rest of the world or how they perceive me, because I'm confident in my own skin. So that's come with aging, which I think is really nice. And my kids are older now, so I've got 3 children, 20, 18 and 16. So they're getting on with their life. So I do feel like I've got a chance to not reinvent myself because I'm still me, but to have a second crack at life and do this journey without being so tied. And that's a nice stage, I think. It's exciting.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Magnificent Midlife podcast. This was an extract from a longer video interview available in our members club. That's where you'll find the strategies, support and connection you need to live the very best next phase of life. You can find out more about the members club and get the show notes for this episode at magnificentmidlife.com. It would really help me get the message out and inspire more women to feel empowered in midlife and beyond if you left me a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you may be listening to this, and share this podcast with your friends too. Help me change the world, one midlife woman at a time.